The CDC has identified a case of coronavirus in Washington State, the Wuhan. Are there words about a pandemic at this point?
No, we're not at all, and we have it totally under control. It's one person coming in from China. We only have 5 people. Hopefully everything's going to be great. They have somewhat of a problem, but hopefully it's all going to be great. But we're working with China, just so you know, and other countries very, very closely, so it doesn't get out of hand. But it's, you know, it's something that we have to be very, very careful with, right? The virus. They're working hard. Looks like by April, you know, in theory, when it gets a little warmer, it miraculously goes away. I hope that's true. But we're doing great in our country. What do you have, a very small number of people in the country right now with it? It's like around 12. Many of them are getting better. Some are fully recovered already. So we're in very good shape. We have very few people with it. The people are getting better. Because of all we've done, the risk to the American people remains very low. We have the greatest experts in the world, really in the world. We've had tremendous success beyond what people would have thought. 35,000 people on average die each year from the flu. Did anyone know that? 35,000. That's a lot of people. It could go to 100,000, it could be 27,000. They say usually a minimum of 27 goes up to 100,000 people a year die. And so far, we have lost nobody to coronavirus in the United States. Nobody. And it doesn't mean we won't, and we are totally prepared. It doesn't mean we won't. Our country is prepared for any circumstance. We hope it's not going to be a major circumstance. It'll be a smaller circumstance, but whatever the circumstance is, we're prepared. You can't be a politician and shake hands. People come in, when I leave, I'll be shaking hands with people. They want to shake your hand. They want to say hello. They want to hug you. They want to kiss you. I don't care. It doesn't, you have to do that. I think we're doing a really good job in this country at keeping it down. We've really been very vigilant, and we've done a tremendous job at keeping it down. This is the most aggressive and comprehensive effort to confront a foreign virus in modern history. Anyone can be a carrier for the virus and risk transmission to older Americans and those with underlying health conditions, and those who are most at risk. They have not done very well. So I'm glad to see that you're practicing social distancing. That looks very nice. And this afternoon, we're announcing new guidelines for every American to follow over the next 15 days as we combat the virus. This is a pandemic. I felt it was a pandemic long before it was called a pandemic. All you had to do is look at other countries. One day, we'll be standing possibly up here. We'll say, well, we won. And we're going to say that. Sure as you're sitting there, we're going to say that. I view it as in a sense, a wartime president. I mean, that's what we're fighting.
What do you say to Americans who are watching you right now who are scared?
I say that you're a terrible reporter. That's what I say. The American people are looking for answers, and they're looking for hope. America will again and soon be open for business. We cannot let the cure be worse than the problem itself. We're not going to let the cure be worse than the problem. Ultimately, the goal is to ease the guidelines and open things up to very large sections of our country as we near the end of our historic battle with the invisible enemy. I hope we can do this by Easter. We will be extending our guidelines to April 30th to slow the spread. When you hear that 2.2 million people could have died if we didn't go through all of this, and now the number will be, you know, a much lower number. This could be a hell of a bad 2 weeks. This is going to be a very bad 2 and maybe even 3 weeks. This is going to be 3 weeks like we haven't seen before.
There are still 8 governors, all Republicans, who have refused to issue these statewide stay-at-home orders.
We have a thing called the Constitution, which I cherish, number one. Number two, those governors, I know every one of them, they're doing a great job. We're starting to see light at the end of the tunnel. Can never be happy when so many people are dying, but we're going to be very proud of the job we did to keep the death down to an absolute minimum, the least it could have happened. Soon we'll be over that curve, we'll be over that top, and we'll be headed in the right direction. I feel strongly about that. The President of the United States calls the shots. If we weren't here for the states, you would have had a problem in this country like you've never seen before. We were here to back them up.
Has any governor agreed that you have the authority to decide when their state
I haven't
opens
asked
back up?
anybody because
But
I
no
don't.
one has
You know why?
has
Because I
said
don't
that.
have to. My administration is issuing new federal guidelines that will allow governors to take a phased and deliberate approach to reopening their individual states. We took the greatest economy in the history of the world and we closed it in order to win this war. And we're in the process of winning it now. We would have had millions of deaths instead of, it looks like we'll be at about a 60,000 mark, which is 40,000 less than the lowest number thought of. It's a beautiful thing to see as restrictions are lifted. We must maintain vigilance and continue practicing social distancing. I think what happens is it's going to go away. This is going to go away. And whether it comes back in a modified form in the fall, we'll be able to handle it. We'll be able to put out spurts. And we're very prepared to handle it. People were thinking in terms of 1.5 million lives lost to 2.2 without the mitigation. And hopefully we're going to come in below that 100,000 lives lost, which is a horrible number. Nevertheless, it's a horrible thing. Could have been stopped. This is really the worst attack we've ever had. This is worse than Pearl Harbor. This is worse than the World Trade Center. There's never been an attack like this. And it should have never happened. Could have been stopped at the source. Could have been stopped in China.